In this video, we will look into the rather interesting event that took place in 1980, shaking the world of silver to its very foundation. An overview of the interesting story about the notorious speculators of modern time, the Hunt brothers. Now, the Hunt brothers wanted to control all of the silver supplies in the world. Did they succeed? Let's find out. Speculation is defined as the forming of a theory or conjectures without evidence for the market, investment in stocks, properties, commodities, or other ventures in the hope of gain, but with the risk of loss. Taking in account the latter in our story of the speculation story, who were the Hunt brothers? Well, the brothers, also known as Nelson Bunker Hunt and William Herbert Hunt, in 1980 attempted essentially to corner the silver market. Now, at the height of their unusual venture, they technically owned 2/3 of the silver market, and that is, at the very least, a very impressive feat. How they got there? It took ingenuity, money, and audacity, and they also had a vision. We cannot deny the ingenuity of these individuals. Unfortunately, it did a lot of damage, leaving a trail of destruction for those who invested, particularly the retail investors, and those who bought physical silver during the bubble. They were left holding the bags for decades, to say the least, even to this day, if they didn't sell in time. The idea was simple: corner the market, control the price, or influence it. Now, the idea that came to fruition was to buy a lot of silver in its physical form, in its physical state, and lots of future contracts. And I mean lots of it. And without closing out these contracts, they did take delivery of the silver in its physical form, stockpiling silver instead of closing their deals, their contracts, using what would be an endless amount of capital. They bought even more. Now, it's hard to imagine or to picture it. They ended up owning a staggering amount of 4.5 billion worth of silver, translating that would be what would be the amount of 70% of the world's silver supply. Now, as a fun fact, they also purchased the right of 1/3 of the U.S. soybean harvest. Now, that's a fun fact. One of the brothers' shady speculative endeavour. Yeah. So, for those new to the market, what is a future contract? Well, it's a legally binding contract agreement to buy or sell an asset at a set price and date. A buyer or seller agrees to fulfill that contract in the future. Options are contracts giving the buyer the right to buy or sell an asset at a specific price within a set time frame. Now, example, like saying I sell you the right to buy 1,000 ounces of silver at $10 per ounce in 3 weeks' time. Now, that's the essence of it. Of course, it's very basic as an explanation, but you get the idea. Now, before we go further down the line of what happened, of what transpired here, let's take a look at the family itself. Now, Nelson was born in 1926 and William was born in 1929, both in Arkansas in the United States. Now, their father, Arnoldson Lafayette Hunt Jr., was born in February 17, 1889 in Ramsey, Illinois. Born Christian, he was married to Lida Bunker. He was an American oil tycoon. Now, according to legend, he bought oil rights with his poker winning, but this is not confirmed. He did most likely with money from oil speculation and buying leases. He secured ultimately the titles to much of the East Texas oil fields, one of the largest oil deposits in the U.S. at the time. Now, he was a prolific gambler, apparently, investing in his winning. Now, in 1912, he was running a cotton plantation in Arkansas, speculating into cotton properties until the 1920s. Now, at the time of his death in 1974, his estate was valued between $2 to $3 billion. Now, beside the two brothers, he had another son, Lamar Hunt, more known for his promotions of football, soccer, and tennis. Now, back to Haraldson. One of his most successful ventures was his discovery and exploitation of a vast oil deposit in Libya in the 1960s. Now, Mr. Hunt invested also in publishing, cosmetic, and health foods, and when he passed away, beside his vast fortune, he had an income of about $1 million a week. Now, that's a lot of money, folks. Now, back to the brothers. Now that we know where their money came from, they dumped or went almost all in the commodity market. They believed that the inflation alone would be enough to result in silver, like gold, to be a safe haven commodity or asset. So they put their fortune to work. Well, that's a mild statement, considering the billions they used to buy silver. Now, there were red flags, but they were able to leverage their way to buy an endless amount of future contracts with loans from the bank. Now, for every action, there's a reaction, and it came in the form of the federal government. But so far, left unchecked, it led to a massive and obvious manipulation, to say the least. And on January 17th, 1980, an ounce was worth around $50. That's insane. Now, the Federal Reserve suspended silver trading amid the situation for the brothers, the situation that was unfolding on the market. It was also the final straw for short sellers, leading to a squeeze. Now, for those who are unaware, to short a stock is to bet against it. Short sellers have to buy back the borrowed shares, and that's what they did with silver, because silver was climbing at an alarming rate for them. So they had to buy their share back, giving a huge boost to silver price. Now, Warren Buffett said something like this, that he actually loved short sellers because they have to buy back his stocks. So I'm not quoting it, but he said something like that. You get the point. Now, what is short selling? Now, I borrow you, as an example, 1,000 shares at $10 a share. I sell them immediately in the market at $10 a share, so technically I'm short 1,000 shares because I still owe you 1,000 shares. Now, 2 days later, I have to buy them back or face financial consequences. So 2 days later, they at $5 a share, so I buy 1,000 stock or shares at $5 each, cashing the gap and giving back to you your 1,000 shares that I borrowed 2 days earlier. Now, the essence of it is kind of easy to understand, and it's a very, like I said, general explanation, but you get the idea. As we mentioned earlier in the video, the federal government halted trading on the commodity to prevent them from buying more contracts and futures for concerning the brothers. Now, with its sudden health, the short went back to work, eager and fierce like cornered beasts to regain their losses. And on top of that, institutions and retailers alike started to lose faith as the market started to react negatively for silver going down. Now, these factors, just to name a few, led to a landslide propulsing silver into a maelstrom. Now, the Hunt brothers had to pay as well each day millions in calls and interests. Now, silver started to collapse. The Hunt became hunted by the federal government, and the bank froze their loans, etc., leading to the end game. Now, what is the end game? The end game is the infamous Silver Thursday. It occurred on the 27th of March 1980. The commodity went from about $50 to abysmal $8 to $5 an ounce in a very short period of time. Now, they did it, the brothers, though. They actually did it. At one point, they did own 2/3 of the silver market, silver supply, at the cost of bankruptcy. The silver bubble just imploded. Now, in the end, they were convicted and fined $10 million each, and on top of that, they got banned from trading altogether in the commodity sector. Bankrupted, they were found guilty of conspiracy, racketeering, manipulation, and fraud. And it led to new rules as well. Just to name one, there was a new rule, restrictions was implemented restricting the amount of commodities one can own, also known as Rule Number 7, adopted by the COMEX. So this is it for the Hunt brothers. I hope you learned a lot. If you have more information, go ahead, put it in the comments section to give us more insight about the Hunt brothers and their unusual venture of speculation. I hope you did enjoy the video, and if you did made it that far, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching, and stay safe.